let's start it right off. Is the easement for the sewer district or the county or
Sewer
Edge?
district, the sewer district.
So it is definitely for the sewer district?
Yes, it's the county, the existing line is the county interceptor. That line, which runs to the sewage treatment plant, has varying pipe sizes, 24-inch, 30-inch, 36-inch. That pipe is old, it has I&I issues, it does surcharge during wet weather conditions. It does not have much in the way of ability to handle additional development, let alone it has reached pretty much its useful life. So as part of the planned development of the Marcy Nano Center project and the Quad C project is a project between an entity called Forest Valley Management Corporation and the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering of the University of Albany. Does require to have some additional infrastructure capability to support the growth of both of those locations. So back in 2010, and what I'll do is I'll give you a little bit of perspective here. The SUNY IT campus is located over here. What was known as the West Campus, which is the other side of Edic Road, is land which has been reserved for future development. This is the Marcy Nano Center site. The site, including SUNY lands and other lands that have been assembled, is roughly 428 acres of property. That site was the site that was the runner-up site for AMD back in 2006 when they were doing a global site search. Ultimately, they picked the site in Luther Forest in Saratoga County. In 2008, we entered into an agreement with the SUNY Research Foundation, ultimately signed agreements in 2010, which basically vested with us with the responsibilities and the rights to develop the site, to complete all the planning, the permitting, the engineering, and to make a series of investments in order to make the site shovel-ready and market the site into the global industry. And last year, we brought water to the site. The year before, we built the Marcy SUNY IT Parkway, which is a bypass road which bypasses Edic Road. Edic Road does exist in certain areas. And sewer was brought to the site also in 2011 timeframe. As part of that particular project, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation had us go out and to affirm the interceptor line and what the capacity existed in that line. We knew that line needed to be upgraded to support eventual growth and development of the site. And in 2011, as part of the Governor's Regional Economic Development Council process, we submitted an application of $5 million to go against a project which is now estimated to cost $11.5 million, and that project was approved. So Oneida County has gone forward. They have incorporated the planned construction of the interceptor as part of their capital plan on January 9th. The county did go ahead and pass the bond resolution, the bond $6.6 million. They also have gone through the secret process and issued a negative declaration. And so the project basically will go from the town of Marcy, where the town sewer ends. There'll be a parallel line built, which is the dotted line, which is threading the needle on lands in between the canal and the thruway. And it will run through the city of Utica. And this is a line that serves everything north of the river. It includes North Utica, Deerfield, Trenton, and Marcy. There'll be a crossing through the canal, and the line to the sewage treatment plant is a 42-inch line, so all of this line will be a 42-inch line. And that's the project. So what you have is, there's a series of properties that are city land, which is located on landlocked properties in the city of Utica. Where the existing line is, we'd be running parallel to that, so we'd be expanding the easement in order to put the sewer line in. And there's other easements that we've assembled for the project, and actually also agreements with the Thruway Authority and the Canal Corporation, since we'd be running a line parallel on lands that they currently own. So that's the project.
Mr. Dimeo, thank you. Would you mind taking questions from the council?
Sure.
Council members like to open the table up for discussion. Is there any questions for Mr. Dimeo?
Just go around, Frank.
All right, Jerome, I'd like to start with you.
The line you said going to the treatment plant right there, is that, now that line is inadequate right now, you're gonna have to rebuild that?
This line's fine right here. That's a 42-inch sewer main. The line that crosses the canal is undersized, so there'll be a crossing of the canal. That section has to be designed. That'll be 42 inch. It'll connect here. So all of this line here, the dotted line, will be 42 inch line, and that connects to the sewer line that we brought into the Marcy site back in 2011 as part of the bypass road project. So that will take care of a major piece of infrastructure which is required as part of the project site. You know, other things that we are contemplating doing, I don't know how familiar you are with the site itself, but there are power lines on the site. There's one line that runs north-south. It's called Port of Terminal number 6. That particular line kind of basically bisects where most of the development activity would be located. We have entered into a cost reimbursement agreement with National Grid, and they are engineering, as we speak, the relocation of that line to take it away from most of the building footprint for the Marcy site. We've assembled private properties last year. We just closed on a piece of property last week. So we've expanded the site. We have funds for a ring road, which will surround most of the development area, and we are in discussions with the state with some other key improvements to further the site. And we are also involved in a global marketing effort to take advantage of the traction that New York State does have in this particular industry. If you've been out to Albany and the University of Albany campus, you know, there's about $14 billion of public and private investment that's taken place at that college campus, which has a who's who of industry leaders in the semiconductor industry, the tool suppliers, and other parts of the supply chain. So companies such as Intel, TSMC, Samsung, Global Foundries, who has a major presence here in New York State, and IBM. And IBM is really responsible for really launching most of what's happened at the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering. So that synergy here has made New York State a hub of global R&D activity in the semiconductor industry. And on a global stage, New York State has significant traction with the industry. So back in 2011, September of 2011, the governor announced an agreement between the College of Nanoscale Science and Engineering and a consortia called the Global 450C Consortia. That consortia consists of Intel, IBM, Global Foundries, Samsung, and TSMC. Those are the 5 largest semiconductor companies in the world. They basically team together to basically collaboratively get involved in R&D activity for the next technology platform for the industry, which is moving from a 300 millimeter technology platform to a 450 millimeter technology platform. And what that means is when you've seen pictures of wafers in which the dies and the integrated circuits are populated on a wafer, you know, currently most of the industry operates in a 300 millimeter platform, which is basically the size of a vinyl record. The transition is to go to 450 technology, which is a major technology leap, and basically those wafer sizes are roughly about 18 inches, which means that you can put more integrated circuits on the wafers, which hopefully would drive down price, and obviously continue to serve the insatiable appetite that exists throughout the world for integrated circuits, whether it's the computers or smartphone technology, the tablets, the automobiles obviously becoming more populated with sensor technology, as well as other applications. So what that requires, frankly, is major R&D to develop tool sets in order to build support the 450 technology. So that's billions and billions of dollars of industry costs going in to basically perfect that process, which isn't perfected as of yet. So that's happening at the University of Albany, and as part of the agreements that have been executed between those companies and New York State, those industry partners have indicated that leading edge semiconductor plants, New York State will get the first crack at that. So on the Marcy site, which again is a 428 acre parcel, so you can see the new road that's been built, which leads to the site. This will take you further up to Utica Road and Mulaney Road. If you went past Utica Mulaney, you'll see the epicenter of the upstate power grid, since one of the major attributes of this particular location is that the terminus for the upstate power grid really come to Marcy, New York, these particular plants have an insatiable appetite for lots of power, as well as heavy-duty water and heavy-duty sewer requirements. So this shows you the engineered site with the recommended site plan in terms of how you would develop it. This is based on a 450 millimeter technology scale. These plants are bigger, they're taller, because the tools are bigger, and this basically shows a preferential site plan that would show 3 semiconductor fabs, R&D center, the spine buildings with our central utility buildings, as well as the other amenities, and obviously the administrative offices. So when we go and talk to the industry across the globe, and we have talked to all of the leading edge semiconductor companies, and we've talked to the next tier of semiconductor companies, we've been able to show them all the things we've been doing, tracking progress of the site. Many of these companies ask to see us on 2 or 3 times a year, so they keep tabs of what's going on. So this is all part of the planning and the engineering, and also trying to take advantage of the right break in the industry cycles, that when these things are being considered, that we basically meet the timelines for the industry. To build a fab, from the day that they pick a site to the day that they actually complete it and start doing tool installation, it's probably anywhere from 18 to 24 months. So that's a long construction cycle. That does not take into account the front end time before you can actually put a shovel in the ground. And then you have a rather extensive period of time to install the tools, test the tools, do the calibration, and ramp up production before you have high volume manufacturing. The Global Foundries plant in Saratoga and Malta, that construction started in 2009. They started doing tool installs, tool ramp up in 2011, started doing actual manufacturing for customers in 2011, and they are just now hitting high volume manufacturing and putting out the type of throughput that they need in order to satisfy the customer base. And they announced a little over a week ago that they are going to be building on their site a technology development center, which is another 500,000 square feet on top of what they currently have. And most of the industry speculation is that probably will be looking at a second fab on that location probably over the next couple of years. So, the industry, these are multi-billion-dollar projects. One of these fabs, with full tool sets in them, will probably cost $8 to $10 billion for one fab. So you have a 3-fab site, you might have a $24 to $30 billion investment there.
Billion, did you say?
Yeah, billion.
Okay. Council members, any more questions?
I yield all the rest of my question time to
Yeah.
the chair.
Mr. Chair, we dedicated only from another 5 minutes to this, so please have your question.
I have just a couple of quick questions. Maybe you've already answered them in the first few minutes of your presentation. I apologize for being late. Steve, thanks for coming and speaking with us. I think it's exciting that you're here to talk to us about not only the easement that we need, but the nanotech project that your agency is spearheading, and we're 100% behind you, and hope that does come to fruition. The sewer intercept that we're giving you, we're asked to give an easement to, I noticed in an email that you had sent to many members of the council and other people, that intercept it was built in 1930s, 1940s, and you're saying that the condition of that...
It's over a period of time. Some sections are 30s and 40s, some of it was built in the 60s. So, even in the 60s, that's old pipe.
Okay. So I guess that was the question. I mean, at some point in time, within the near future, we would have to replace that the current interceptor.
Yeah, it's surcharging now. So wet weather conditions, that pipe does surcharge. It gets a lot of water in it. So it's something that the EC was concerned about. So the time to do this is now, before you have overflows that are causing problems. So the opportunity is that we need this for looking forward for the region. It was the opportunity to do this and do this now, and took advantage of the fact that the state is a big proponent and has been pretty supportive of what we're trying to accomplish on the SUNY IT site. That they bought in and basically helped support part of the funding for that particular improvement.
Which goes to one of my other questions, but before I can get to that, we're not, this project here is not under any consent order, is it?
Not at the moment, no. So if, the Quad C project, and the Quad C project is currently planned 175,000 with the ability to double that, the size of that, and that's something that's being looked at, you know, by the folks involved in that particular project. Given in their permit application, which DEC looked at, you know, they're estimating that they would, at their full build out, would use up they would have 450,000 gallons a day of discharge, and the existing pipe does not support that. So one of the things that they needed to do, and we had to reinforce with DEC that we had already planned that, and those improvements were actually being engineered when DEC was looking at that application, or else DEC could have prevented them from, they could build a building but not hook up to it, so we want to make sure they can hook up to it.
One other question in regards to the need in the, I have read some information that says that there's a possibility or that we could, that the nanotech or the users of this, of our water, they're going to need to turn into waste, that they could pre-treat that water and then that can go directly into the Mohawk River. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Well, anything that comes out of these facilities will be pre-treated before it's discharged anywhere, whether it's discharged in a pipe or another option. The Quad C is going to discharge 100% into a pipe and take it to the sewage treatment plant. Each one of these plants here, and given the fact that the industry is in a bit of a state of flux, a leading edge 450 plant might use 6 million gallons a day of wastewater. So, you know, whether or not they want to put all of that into a pipe to a sewage treatment plant, that is an option. They plan for that. So when they do their siting exercises across the globe, they look at, is the infrastructure robust enough in order to handle that? The other things they do look at is, since this is becoming more of a critical issue across the globe, and the companies are trying to become more environmentally friendly, they do look at strategies that might have more recycling and reuse of you know, the wastewater, and there are direct discharge options. However, any one of these plants, if this is using 6 million gallons a day, there is a 6 million gallons a day of pre-treated waste that can go back into a body of water. The best estimates are that it might be as much as 70%. So take 6 million gallons a day times 30%, if that's the only thing they want to put into a pipe, that's still a considerable amount of wastewater that would be discharged and going back to the sewage treatment plant. So we have looked at discharge options because we work with the engineering companies that build these plants, and so we stay abreast of all of the things we need to know in order to answer the questions of the industry when the industry asks questions. So, but right now, most of the companies we have dealt with have asked us about, you know, what's the water availability, what's the water treatment capability, and the other key ingredient, of course, is use power. So each one of these plants could use as much as 100 megawatts of power.
The only other question I had, and you may have touched on it again before I got here, was that the funding for the construction on this, I understand is being funded 50% through a grant through Edge.
$5 million grant to Mohawk Valley Edge, and Oneida County is bonding for $6.6 million. The project's $11.6 million. So 43% of this is being paid for on a reimbursement basis from Empire State Development Corporation. And the reason why it's being funded is because of the state's interest in this particular site in the Quad C project.
You may not be able to answer this particular question, but maybe you can give us some insight. That the ratepayers of the sewer system won't be assessed any rate increase as a result of this intercept.
All improvements made by the district, which have financing associated, probably have some impact upon rates. The difference on this particular line is that this line has the ability to generate revenue